The boy accidentally touched the pitch-black sea, and suddenly, a huge, colorful seahorse leapt out of the water. Legend has it that anyone who sees this magical seahorse will live a long and healthy life. It turned out that the boy and the seahorse were old friends, and this time, the seahorse had come to take them on a rescue mission. The seahorse swam incredibly fast, quickly bringing the three of them to a yacht. They quietly boarded the yacht and immediately saw an ancient coffin, seemingly hiding some kind of conspiracy. Suddenly, a muscular zombie entered the room and seemed to notice them. The three of them quickly ran outside the cabin, only to be blocked by a monster. Just as they tried to run back, they were stopped by the zombie. Eventually, they were captured and locked in a cell. However, this was no challenge for the sea god's son. He closed his eyes and used his mind to control the sea, instantly raising huge waves that slammed against the yacht. Meanwhile, the girl grabbed the fallen backpack. The sea god's son used tape to wrap around the prison bars, and to their surprise, the bars were sliced open, allowing them to escape. The three ran to the deck, only to run straight into the enemy. A fierce battle was unavoidable. The sea god's son was incredibly agile, knocking the enemies overboard in just a few moves. But as more enemies arrived, the sea god's son decided to buy time for his friends to steal a lifeboat. He led the enemies to the top of the yacht. At that moment, the villain appeared. From him, the sea god's son learned that their teammate was not on the ship. Meanwhile, the teammates successfully stole the lifeboat. However, while the boy was installing the engine, it slipped from his hands and fell into the sea. At that moment, the enemies aimed at him, but the sea god's son used his mind to control the sea, blocking the attack and protecting his friends. The girl remembered there was a can of nitrogen in the backpack. Using it to boost the lifeboat's speed, they quickly sped away. The sea god's son also jumped off the yacht, sliding across the water on his waterboard, ready to escape. But unexpectedly, the villain followed them, revealing that he also had the same powers as the sea god's son. Just as the villain was about to catch up, the sea god's son waved his hand and blasted him away. The three of them successfully escaped on the nitrogen-powered lifeboat. However, soon after, the boy's potion wore off, and he turned back into a one-eyed giant. He awkwardly smiled, and as the others comforted him, the sky suddenly turned dark. To their shock, sharks appeared in the water, and more gathered around them. As they frantically paddled, the sharks kept multiplying. Upon closer inspection, they realized it wasn't just sharks, it was a massive whirlpool, with sharp, serrated edges at the center.